Hello, everybody, and welcome back. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, make sure that you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Today, I'm going to be showing you how I made these gummy bears that are so good. They have so much flavor to them, better than Haribo gummy bears. Grandchildren love them. These gummy bears can be made for adults. You can follow the recipe in the description box. They can be made for children. You can also add vitamins for the children into the mixture, the warm mixture, and it'll make it easier for them to take their vitamins. I love this recipe, and it can be split in half. This recipe makes a lot of gummy bears. If you split it in half, you'll have half the amount. I would say that the full amount makes about 240 gummy bears, depending on the size mold you're using. So again, it can be cut in half. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I am going to show you how to make these gummy bears that are just so good. Oh, and one other thing, I would recommend using LorAnn food flavoring. It's amazing. This flavoring is amazing, okay? It's the best I've had. I do have other food flavoring oils, and I do not like the taste of them. They have like this powerful, overwhelming taste, but LorAnn, wonderful, okay? So go ahead, get your materials ready, and the recipe is simple. Only thing is, you're going to need at least 6 hours for them to set in the refrigerator, and then after that, you're ready to go. To start your gummy bears, you're going to need your corn syrup, your sugar, and your sorbitol. Why sorbitol? Sorbitol adds a texture that is commonly known in gummy bears. It gives it that firm texture, and also it is a preservative for your gummy bears. We're going to allow this to simmer on medium-high heat. Mix it around, combining that sugar and corn syrup and sorbitol. And of course, using a saucepan, whatever size you prefer, it does not matter. Just make sure it's large enough to hold a total of 2 cups. The sugar, the corn syrup, and your sorbitol. Make sure we get all that sugar mixed in there. And while this is simmering, we're going to go ahead and prepare our gelatin. For our gelatin mixture, we're going to combine our gelatin powder in our water and just gently stir it, because we don't want any air to get into it. Just going to stir it gently until it's dissolved. That means don't use an egg beater or anything like that. And no, it does not have a good smell. Now remember, you can use juice, you can use wine, or you can use water. You can use vodka if it's the adult drink, the adult gummies. I'm using water because I'm going to be flavoring my gummy. So if you're going to add flavoring to it, your own flavoring, do not use juice because it will change the flavor. And this is going to have to rest for 5 minutes so that it can bloom. Once your mixture has simmered, you can turn it off, remove it from the heat, and just make sure that you're stirring down your sugars on the side once it's removed from the heat. After we've pushed our crystal sugar down that might have formed on the sides of the pan, we're going to add our gelatin mixture. And as you see, it's sort of like this gelatinous looking type of goo. We're going to add that to our hot mixture along with our citric acid. Now, why citric acid? Citric acid is common in gummy bears because it gives it that tart taste that enhances the fruit flavor. And we're going to mix this around until it's dissolved. And with the mixture being hot, it doesn't take long for this to dissolve. And once it's completely dissolved, you're going to allow this mixture to set for 10 minutes. Once it's set, you will notice a white film on top of it. This film has to be removed. You don't want that in your gummy bears. So after dissolving your gelatin in your hot mixture, and after adding your citric acid, allow this to sit for 10 minutes. So I do feel the need to warn you all that when you're making this mixture for your gummies with the gelatin and adding the sugar and everything, it does not have a pleasant smell. Okay, I would tell you what it smells like, but I don't know if kids is watching this. Okay, I don't know how it would smell when you add your fruit juice or vodka, if you're making adult candies or wine, but before you add the flavoring, it does not smell nice. Okay, but don't be discouraged, because once you add your flavoring, that smell will disappear. I promise you. After allowing your mixture to set for 10 minutes, you could take a spoon or a pastry brush or whatever, and you're going to remove this scum, as you can see. See that? This film off of here. You do not want that in your gummies. Remember, when gummies set, it's going to set with exactly what's in there, and that includes this foam. Now, if you really want to do something unique and different, you can use the foam, flavor and color your gummies, and use the foam. But you would have to definitely do it fast, because this foam hardens pretty quick once it's removed. And try to get all of it off of there if you don't want that white filmy texture on your gummies. So just take your time and get as much of it off of there as you can. So I have these little containers, and I'm pouring my mixture into these little containers because I'm going to use different colors and flavors for them. So first off, I am going to start with the grape. And by the way, this is LorAnn's food coloring. I did have another food coloring that was like oil. But it was just a little bit too strong. LorAnn is a strong food flavoring too. So you don't want to overdo it. In fact, with that one drop that I added, I can smell it. It's really strong. And then you just want to mix it around. I am going to just dab a little bit of this on my finger to see if it's strong enough the way I want it. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. That one drop was definitely more than enough. And this one is cherry. So I'm going to add cherry. And that one fell as 2 drops. So hopefully it won't be too much. And I'm going to use this dark pink because my coloring did not come with red. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you get big boxes of coloring like this, even with the pigment coloring, you don't get red anymore. Like I got one in pigment color that said scarlet red, and it was not red, it was pink. Now I added a few drops of this pink so that I can get a more red color. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with my colors and flavoring, and I'll be right back. So once you have your flavors and everything and your colors how you want them, you're going to use your molds. If you're using silicone molds, make sure you spray it with a little bit of vegetable oil, wipe around for the excess, turn it upside down and kind of tap it to make sure it's nothing inside of it. You make sure you spray it lightly though, because you do not want your gummies to be greasy and oily, and you can't taste the flavor if you're trying to taste it through the oil. And once you've done that, you take your dropper, whatever you're using, and add it to your molds. So here's a few things you want to know about when you're filling up your molds. You want to try to work fast because that gelatin starts to set as it cools. When you're pouring your jello mix or your gelatin mix and everything into your molds, you want to make sure that you're trying to get as many of the bubbles out of there as possible. This is what I really wanted to mention to you. The only thing you really can do is just try your best to move fast, and try not to, if you're using a dropper, try not to allow the bubbles that come out of the dropper to go into your mold. As you're working, if your gelatin starts to cool, you can put it back on the stove to warm it up, and just make sure that you get, once again, let it set, this time no more than 5 minutes, and just kind of pull that film off of it. To rewarming it, you'll have less film than you did the first time. And if you have 2 people working with you, and you're filling up a lot of jelly molds, that's even better. Okay. And after you filled up all your jelly molds and everything, you're going to set these in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours. Overnight is even better. Okay. After you have refrigerated your gummies for 6 hours or overnight, you can go ahead and pop them out of your molds. Look at that. Now I am going to just lay these on my wax paper, and the longer you leave them out, they get a little firmer. I am going to leave mine in here sitting on this wax paper for 24 hours to allow it to firm up more. And then afterwards, I'm going to store them in a freezer bag. Or you can use a storage bag. I just say freezer bag because that's all I buy is freezer bags. I freeze everything, but these I'm not going to freeze. And these have a good shelf life because they have the sorbitol and the citric acid, which is a preservative.